Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. This is John Bishop at John Bishop Fine Art, and you're listening to Conversations for Freelance Creatives. This is a blog created for me and my husband's small art business to kind of go over everything that we're learning as we're creating a sustainable art business, what we've learned, who we've met along the way, and we're sharing that with you. So I'm delighted that you're with us today. A lot going on. First of all, if you haven't been following Stefan Van Quick at Artists Stop Being Poor, you ought to look them up. They're doing some amazing things. He's got a second boot camp going on, amazing interviews, really helpful information. It's a group I belong to and support highly. Also, there's my online residency program out of Mexico City with Michael Swank called Proyectos de Residencia. And that's been going along quite well. They just had a magnificent show with Sonamaco. So good on them. They're doing a lot, and Michael's got me in an exhibition still on Artsy. So another group that's really doing some good in my artistic career. But another thing that's going on for me is kind of eating up all my time is that I'm finally having my first solo exhibition. And this is a big deal for anyone. This is the first time that, other than like little invitationals at a restaurant or coffee shop or things like that, or group shows that I've participated in, this is my first real, honest to goodness solo exhibition. Now, I wanted to start this last year when I was 60 years old, but COVID, what are you going to do? So I'm now 61. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a legacy series. And a legacy series is one that will carry out throughout my artistic career. Now, starting at 60, I'm going to carry this on for 20 years until I'm 80. I was talking to a friend of mine, John Ross Palmer, an artist here in Houston, and pretty well known outside of Houston as well. John told me at his 20th anniversary, so to speak, of being a professional artist, he said, it took him 20 years to get to where he was today from a beginning artist. And I thought to myself, I'm 60. I've got 20 years. I can do this. So that gave me hope. So I'm creating this 20-year series that will be installments every 5 years for 20 years. So that's 5 installments over 20 years, 20 paintings in each installment. So that's 100 paintings in the series spanning a period of 20 years until I'm 80 years old. Now, that is a huge undertaking. But what I really wanted to do is mark the fact that I'm starting at 60 as a new professional artist, though I've been painting for a long time. And marking that event without any hesitation. So I'm starting from ground zero. My first exhibition starts this legacy series. And I've taken inspiration from a Buddhist, I don't think it's just Tibetan Buddhist, but a Buddhist concept of the Panca Marga. And I'm probably mispronouncing that. I believe it's Panca Marga. But the Panca Marga is a teaching that says when a Bodhisattva, and a Bodhisattva is a Buddhist saint, somebody who has reached a level of perfection right on the doorstep of Buddhahood, that once someone reaches that level of attainment, that level of experience throughout their lifetimes, when they reach that point, that's not the end. That opens up new pathways, new roads to take you further on to your perfection, to your Buddhahood. And I thought that was an interesting metaphor for me because I have come to this career with lots of other experience, life experience, professional experience, technical experience, and skills, and just knowledge and life. And I've come to this point with all of that with me. So I'm not starting from zero. I would argue very few people do. But that I am now bringing with me all of that experience. And instead of being the end of my life, the end of my career, the retirement of my career, I'm actually looking now at a new beginning. And that's why I thought it was such a fitting metaphor for my new series. So what I will be doing is I will, in July the 9th is the reception, but for the month of July, from the 1st to the 27th, I will have my own exhibition of a completely new series, Panca Marga, the first installation, and that correlates to the first of 5 roads in the Panca Marga teaching of Buddhism. In the first road, there are 5 roads, hence once every 5 years. And the first road is that of accumulation. As I mentioned before, accumulation being you come to this point with all of the experience that you have, and you're starting out. So that moment when you come with all you have to that beginning point is the path of accumulation. That is my first installment in the Panca Marga series. So I will be presenting 20 works, all brand new, for this exhibition, highly collectible, and then in 5 years I'll have the next installment. So what I've done is I've created a series of 20 paintings of various sizes and price points, because let's face it, I'm still an emerging artist technically. I haven't had my first exhibition. And so coming to this point, I will have these works, and they're still approachable, they're still quite affordable, because I'm not the big name that I hope to be one day, and I can't demand the prices of those who are. But this is a special collection apart from the rest of my work, and I'm keeping it a secret until July. It will be launched in July. So my real hope is to create some sort of buzz here that will invite and interest collectors who are willing to take a chance because I'm new, I'm still quite affordable, and there is some future to this investment because I'm going to do 5 installments in the series. I'm hoping that that will create some buzz, and that I can actually interest some people into jumping in at the beginning when it's still reasonable, with the hope of carrying them on. So that's my goal. I start on July 9th is the reception, and putting on your own solo exhibition is a huge deal. I don't know how many of you have done it, but it's quite daunting, quite frightening, and there's so much that has to happen on time. And so one of the things, I guess the first thing that I needed to worry about was venue, and that actually came quite easy. The venue is at Silver Street Studios, where I already rent artist studio. And what the building has done is they have identified this kind of back corner that was just really used for dead storage. They have emptied that out, refurbished it, and they're making it available for the tenants to have 1-month exhibitions, solo exhibitions in that space, free of charge. That is huge, because if you've ever tried to rent a space for an exhibition, exorbitantly expensive, unless you get truly creative, and then even then you're taking some risks. And everything is already done for me. I mean, there's already security cameras, there's already bathrooms and parking and air conditioning, and it's already set up as a gallery. People know the place as a gallery. And so a lot of those boxes have already been ticked for me. A beautiful opportunity, and I'm very, very grateful. So the venue is set. I have a room, it's a smallish room, but I've only got 20 pieces. It'll be fine. And so after the venue then becomes the marketing. How will people know that I'm having this sale, and how will I get people to the reception? And so that is actually the lion's share of the work, right? And it has to happen in advance. I have now about a month and a half before the show. I want to be running full-fledged into the marketing. on June 1st to be ready for July 1st. So wish me luck. I still got a couple of weeks. And so the first thing I wanted to do was to brand the event. So thanks to my husband, we've been talking about all the hats we have to wear as creative professionals. And this one was graphic design. Bogdan was able to create a remarkable little logo for me in this series that will carry me throughout the 20-year history of the project. So I have a logo, the Panca Marga Legacy Series from John Bishop. I'm going to brand everything with that logo. I'm talking from the invitations to the postcards to the actual pieces of art. We'll have it stamped. I've got one of those little embossers that stamps ink or wax. So each painting will be marked with that. I have little logos on pins that I'm going to give to collectors. Everything will be branded with the Panca Marga series logo. And then, of course, I have to send out invitations. Now, I'm having real mixed feelings. The theory was when we did Bogdan's exhibition was that people wanted to get something in the mail that was handwritten and personalized in some way. That sounds really, really good. And that's what we did. It was quite expensive. We sent out a lot of invitations in envelopes, handwritten, with a little note handwritten on the invitation itself. When I showed the invitations to someone else, they suggested, no, in fact, just send a postcard because then your art gets seen on the front before they have to open what could possibly be just junk mail. That's true too. I know that I'd throw things out and junk mail without abandon. If something is handwritten, I'm more likely to hold on to it. Let me know what your experience has been, because to me it can go either way. But I need to get those done. We're designing the invitations now. I'm going to be sending them off to the printer this week, as well as postcards. And I do think people in the art world are used to dealing with these kinds of postcard size announcements. So it'll be an invitation. It'll also be branded. I will be able to leave at the different venues around the Arts District in Houston so that maybe people will pick them up and happen by that evening. That's another thing I'll do. Also to invite all the other artists in the building, because they'll come as well, especially if there's food. And then there's, speaking of food, then there's catering. So I booked the same caterer that we use for Bogdan. A lot of people do it themselves to save money. But we will have wine, red and white wine, water. We will have a catered nibbles from a professional caterer. That went over really, really well last time. It distinguishes you from the others because most people aren't going to spend that kind of money and for one night. And that gives me more gravitas to the event itself and dress it up a bit. So I'm happy to do that. Then we need those same kind of graphic things for all the social media platforms, and I'm going to push the hell out of it on social media platforms just to really get the word out. Take advantage of creating some buzz here from a publicity point of view. And then there needs to be video content as well. So I'm busy now. I've been doing little snippets of me creating the artwork. We're doing snippets of us framing it and things like that so that we can create video content as well to help push the message. Because we know from previous conversations how much more effective video is than even photography. So that's another component that we have to filter in. And then finally, I wanted all of this promotional material that we're creating is forward-looking, right? It looks forward to a date of July the 9th, 2021. On July the 10th, none of that matters. It's all garbage at that point. So what I really wanted to do, and we've done this for John Ross Palmer as well, and for Bogdan we did, we want to create not only a catalog looking forward to here's what's going on that evening, but we want to create something historical that tells about the event, that has passed and is still something I can promote on my website, on different channels, and that I can promote for the next 5-year installment and the next and the next, and that I have this kind of video and print history of the entire series over a 20-year period. Thinking forward like that will help me a lot later on. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create a small zine, a kind of a half-page booklet with all the pieces, the prices, and the Panca Marga explanation, and some dedication stuff. John Ross Palmer is going to be included in that. I also have Princess Brianna Karaja, who's going to do the introduction. Princess Brianna was actually, she's a good friend of Bogdan's. She's a princess in Romania, and she was there for Bogdan's first solo show in Romania back in 2015? No, before that, a long time ago. And she was there to introduce him at his first show, and she's agreed to do that in the booklet as well. So at the end of the process, I will have a little catalog for this event that I can then build into the next catalog for the 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. And I can build into one book all of the history of all 5 exhibitions. That's the goal of that booklet. And you just do one section at a time. Now, publicity. I have to get the word out. I have a mailing list of collectors and of people who want to receive the newsletter. So obviously all those folks will be getting it. The folks, I will invite all the artists in the building. I will send out invitations to all the gallery owners, just because I'm not sure if they'll come. And they didn't necessarily come to the one that Bogdan had. But I do think it's important to get the word out, get the press releases. I'm going to do press releases. Again, why not? I'm not sure anybody will pick them up, but it will be available. The other thing that we did for Bogdan that I will do is there are all kinds of community publications and newsletters and websites and blogs that have community calendars. So I'm going to get this information about the opening into as many community calendars as I can. That's, again, free advertising, publicity, gets the word out, maybe create a little bit of buzz. So that's my plan on getting stuff out there. And then, of course, there's the art. I haven't quite finished. I have about 15 of the artworks completed. I have 4 that will be completed probably later today. I just need to wrap them up, and then 1 more. So there's only really a little bit left to go before I finish the artwork. Bogdan is taking photos, good quality, high resolution photos of those images, both for the booklet and for posterity, because if I sell them, they're gone. If I wanted to make prints or just use it in promotional materials. So I'll have high resolution photographs, and we're getting them all framed and ready for installation. And that all takes time as well. Let's see. So there's the artwork. I mentioned that I have various price points for my art. And so there will be pieces starting from about 400, 500, 600, 700, 1,000, and 1,500. I believe they're all split up like that. Anyway, the point is, if I sold everything, if everything went really well and I sold every piece, we're talking about $10,600. Now, I've got expenses coming out of that, but I won't spend $10,000 on the event, I promise. But we did spend about $5,000 on Bogdan's, but we had to rent the room, so we're already saving a little money. Now, how do I make sure that I sell all the pieces? Because it would be really, really tragic if in 20 years I still have, 17 of the originals that never sold. And that is to create a buzz ahead of time. So I need to be contacting particular VIP folks, people who are collectors, inviting them over maybe from the 1st of July to give them a little previews. And the whole goal is to sell as many of those paintings before the event on July 9th as possible. And that may sound fishy because you say, well, then everybody doesn't have the same access. I'm really sorry. I need to sell the paintings. And if I give VIP access, people are much more likely to purchase. And let's face it, the people who buy the first set of 20 are likely the people who will buy the second, third, fourth, and fifth. So those people demand a certain amount of special attention. Now, one option I had was to have 2 events, a VIP event maybe the night before, a couple of nights before, and then the event on the 9th. That would be great, except I really can't afford to cater both events. That would be kind of a lot of money, particularly if the VIP folks don't show. And in addition to that, I have a bit of a worry that if I invite Mr. Z, who is a great gallery owner here in town and who likes my work, if he comes and purchases a picture, he's not going to come back on July the 9th. So if I do that too much, then I'm kind of digging into the crowd that I'll have on July the 9th. I don't know. If you've got any advice, I'd love to hear it. Because, you know, if in this one point you say, who cares? If it's all sold, it's all golden. But I don't know. I don't want to sabotage my July the 9th event either. Again, got any experience or advice? I'd love to hear it. So that brings us really to the actual experience. Now, I believe I'm pretty well organized as far as the exhibition, what I have to do and by when. But what I really need to pay attention to is the customer side of this. I've spent 30 years in customer service as a librarian. And I need to look at the consumer, at the buyer, at the collector's experience, even the visitor's experience, even if they're not collecting. What is their experience of the event? I am convinced of this. People come to these events to have an art experience as much or more than their interest in buying art. They're coming for an experience. I need to give them an experience. Now with COVID, I don't know who's still going to venture out. Things are getting better. We noticed at the Saturday events, crowds are starting to come back. I noticed other galleries are opening and having events, so this won't be new by July. But then again, a lot of people could be on holiday in July. It's hot in Houston. Maybe people won't want to come out. The point is that I need to create an experience for these folks. And so I need to look at this event from their point of view. What happens to a person when they arrive at the studio? First of all, there has to be clear signage to get them from the door to the venue space. Not difficult. Then, once they arrive, someone needs to be there to meet them. So I'm now starting to create an employee list for the evening. Who do I need to have available to greet people? Someone needs to be watching the crowd. Someone needs to be making sure that when somebody comes in, they're welcomed, that they're ushered over to the guest book, they're ushered over to the drinks and nibbles. And then that person needs to keep an eye on people. If there's someone who's kind of standing alone, looking bored, need to get to that person, get that person involved, talk to them about art, come over and introduce them to me if we haven't met. Take them and introduce them to a group of others who will engage them in conversation. Because if you're standing there bored, the time is ticking until you walk away. We all know that we've all been there. So I need a person whose job it is to watch the crowd. I also need somebody to take photographs. I could do it. Bogdan is professional at doing it, but if he's watching the crowd, he can't do both. I need somebody, and it doesn't have to be a professional photographer, it's just somebody with a cell phone or a camera who can walk around and grab images of the people, of the art, of the people reacting to the art, of me reacting with people and the art, and getting some video as well. Somebody whose job it is to gather that so I don't have to worry about it. Obviously, I'm hiring a caterer. Somebody will need to be there to take care of the food and the drink. I'm hiring that out so I can scratch that off my list, but somebody has to be there to make sure, the Cheez-It bowl is not empty and that the beer hasn't run out. In addition to all of that, I need to have a virtual presence as well. We're all involved now in this hybrid experience of meetings and things like that and exhibitions. I have the possibility of opening this exhibition to we worked abroad for many, many years. I know lots of people all over the world who could attend this event virtually and purchase virtually the art that's on display. That hugely ups my market if I can create an interesting and technologically capable event for them to attend. And so I need to have someone in charge of that technology. What we're hoping to do is have like a Zoom meeting going on, maybe live on Facebook, and that person is talking with that group, interacting with what's going on in the chat room, and feeding in either what's going on in the room or prepared video content so that they have an experience of the event as well. There's that magic number. You've got to have something happening every so often so that people don't lose interest and leave. That's why we don't cut the cake at weddings until late, because people are going to wait around for the cake. So if I can, about the time people are thinking maybe they should move on, go to dinner, something else happens and they stick around a little bit longer. That would be ideal. And that has to happen in person and online. No small task, I know. We don't really understand the technology, but what the heck? We've got a month. We can do anything in a month. Now, no one can leave, and so people online will be able to purchase as well. So if they're interested in buying, I guess I'll either have PayPal or I can shoot them an email with an invoice and they can pay directly into my QuickBooks online while we're there at the show. So they can purchase as well. Mark those puppies with a red dot. Unfortunately, they have to stay up until the end of the month because that's the exhibition. And that's actually a good thing because then I can make arrangements to deliver the work to people around town. Obviously, I can mail it to those who are out of town. But I can find an excuse to go to their house, deliver it, offer to hang it for them, and give me a little bit more time to get to know them and maybe develop more of a relationship with them. Because as I say, the people who buy on the 9th are the people who are going to buy in 5 years. So I have to take them very, very seriously. Anyway, that in a nutshell is my plan. I know it's a lot for one night, but I really do believe it's a game changer for me and the way I approach my art business. If you've got any sage advice, I'd love to hear it. If not, have a wonderful week. Start planning your own exhibition, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye now.